Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another tutorial. This tutorial is going to be on this pendant, and I'm going to call it the Rainbow Snowflakes Pendant because it's colorful. So I've put them out just to give you an idea of what you can hang this pendant on. The pendant itself is, we're just going to make the pendant, and what it is a bezeled Rivoli, and it is the exact same bezel as the Tivoli Rivoli earrings. So up to just the bezeling part is exactly the same. I just use a little different color beads, but the process is the same. But I'm going to do the entire. I'm going to do another bezel on this video. I'm going to do the thing from start to finish, just in case you haven't watched it before. And then maybe in a few days I'll put up a how-to to bezel a simple a simple bezel for a Rivoli. But so if you've done it, then go ahead and get your Rivoli bezeled, and by the time you get that done, I'll be done, and you can just fast forward to the part where we do the rest of this, and we do this little bail. So I'm just going to pull this ribbon out. So that's one idea, and just show it to you for a second. So okay, again, here's the bezeled Rivoli. Now we've got some Bicones. I love this one. I love this sort of opal-y color. Then we've got some, these are 4mm, some 3mm Bicones, and some SuperDuos. And then we've put this bail on. So I'm putting the bail on separately because if for some, I mean, this is really strong, but if for some reason the bail breaks, then you still have the pendant. You don't have to, or you make the pendant. So this worked out very well. You can incorporate it in. It doesn't, it will work either way, but I like putting it on separately. So here you go. That's going to fit a lot of chain. It'll fit a chain. It'll fit a beaded chain, like on the blue one, which I have these all posted on Facebook. I put a chain through, which clearly is not finished. This was just a tryout of cubes, and these are bronze and sort of an AB colored cube. I don't really know the names. I just had them in my stash. I just wanted to give you an idea of what you can do with it. And again, look, you've got lots of space in that bail to put anything you want in there. And here's the rubber cord. Maybe, I think I wore the rubber cord today, actually. I wore this one. And it looked great. It looks great on. So you can use a leather cord. I just think that leather cords, if can, the color can come off. That's why I use rubber cords. But you can use, or the ribbon. So they're all, you can really fit anything in there. Or get a chain from a piece of your jewelry, if you have an extra chain, and put it on that. I think it's pretty enough to actually hang on a gold chain, or a bronze chain, or you can make one. You can actually make this one, or make a right angle weave chain. So you can do anything with that, but we're going to concentrate on making just the pendant today. All right, so there they are. So I'm going to go grab some materials, and when we come back, we'll get the materials list, and we'll get started on this pendant. Okay, so we're back, and I had a lot of beads. We don't use a ton of beads, but we use many different colors and types. So the pendant itself is not, there aren't a lot of beads, just different sizes. So I'm doing the materials list separately. All right, so for one pendant, you're going to need a 14mm Rivoli. And mine is a Swarovski, and I believe this is black diamond. Now I bought this at a bead show, and it didn't have the color name on it, but I believe it's black diamond. I'll check on it, and I'll put it in the description box below, where I put everything that you're going to need and any instructions or links or whatever. So always check that description box beneath this video, because there might be something important in there. Never know. Okay, so I'm trying to use colors that will contrast enough so that you can really see what I'm doing. And I actually, the black one that I showed earlier on the intro, I did make a video with that one, but it just, you just couldn't see. I need to make it so you can see it. So sometimes it's a little difficult most of my beads are shiny, and of course we always go to shiny, right? So I'm going to try to use these matte beads and see if that makes a difference. Okay, so you have your Rivoli, 14mm. We have a 11 Delica, and that is The name of that is Transparent Inside Color Lined New Fern Satin. Goodness, I'm going to give you the number on that because that's a mouthful. So this is, it's a Delica, and so it's Miyuki. So it would be DB1814 if you wanted to use this one. Okay, I'll put the name in the description box anyway. You need a 15-0 seed bead, and that's metallic bronze or dark gold, where it depends on where you buy it. You'll need some SuperDuos. You need about 18 SuperDuos. You don't need a ton of them. You don't need a ton of anything, really. So I'm using Pastel Bordeaux, and these are sort of a matte bead. And then you need a 4mm Bicone, and I'm using Palace Green Opal, and it's a Swarovski, and the number on this one is 5328. I believe that's correct, but I'll put it down in the description box. You need a 3mm Bicone, and I'm using Valentinite. Okay, and now that's a Preciosa. You're going to need an 11-0 seed bead, and this is dark bronze, or dark metallic bronze, or just metallic bronze is fine also. You'll need a size 10 beading needle. That one's, you can tell that's well loved. And you'll need about, I would go for almost a wingspan of Fireline. Because you want to make sure you have enough, and then you're going to need a little bit more Fireline to make the bail, because I'm going to do this separately. So make sure I have everything. I think that's everything. So let me put the Fireline out. That way you have a visual. Okay. All right. So gather up your materials, and we'll get started making this pendant. We're going to start with the Rivoli. Okay. See you in a minute. Okay. So what we need right now, I forgot to mention the stop bead, by the way. You need a stop bead. So what the materials we need right now to do this, to bezel this Rivoli, we're going to need our 11-0 Delicas, and that's the fern green, and we're going to need 15-0 Delicas, seed beads, and those are the either dark gold or metallic bronze, depends on when you buy them. So the 15-0s and the 11-0 Delicas. You need your Rivoli, and you need a stop bead. Okay, so thread your needle with about a wingspan, as I mentioned, and put on a stop bead. So I'm coming through my stop bead. I'm going to leave about a 12-inch tail. Okay. So because we're going to bezel the this one side of the Rivoli with the first end of our thread, and then we're going to do the back with this tail. Okay. All right. So now when you bezel Rivoli, what you want to do is you want to find the perfect number of Delicas that are going to fit around the circumference of this Rivoli. Now, you can look in a million books and, get lots of suggestions. You really have, first it has to be an even number. Very important. Make that an even number. And you have to really try it out and see how it works. So, for me, this 14mm Swarovski Rivoli and this 11-0 Delica, that's Miyuki, right? When I use this combination together, 36 of these Delicas make me a perfect circle to start with my bezel with. So I'm going to pick up 36. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can pick them up with me. And I check each time I pick up, I check. So 3, 6, 9, 10. Those drop. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 20. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Count another 10. 2, 3, whoops, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's going to give me 30. I'm going to count them again. I'm going to pull my light down here a little bit too. Okay, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that's 30, and then I need 6 more. Okay. So there are my 36 Delica beads that are going to go around this Rivoli. Okay. So what you want to do is you bring down to stop bead, hold your tail, make this into a circle. Okay. And I want you to sew through that first bead. Let me get this clear for you to see. Maybe it's better on the mat. Okay. So actually, I'm going to hold it. So sew through the first bead after your stop bead. Just sew up and make these into a circle. Okay, just sew up the one. Mine's, there we go. Okay. So there's my circle. Okay. So when I put it on my Rivoli, it kind of reaches to the edges. See? So that works for me. I had to try several different amounts to get to the 36, because some, books I have will say 40, or some will say 38. So you really need to, depending on what you're using, you need to really take the time to figure it out. And even if you mess up a few times, just take it out, because once you get your number down, it's pretty good. Make sure it's an even number. I know I keep saying that, but you'll be very happy if it isn't. Okay, so we're coming out of this bead here. So I put it on my finger just to make it easy to hold. So we're coming out of this bead here. We're going to skip the next bead. So we're doing a little peyote here, right? We're going to go up that next bead. Pull. And that's going to sit once I get it pulled down. That's going to sit. Come on, you. These two beads, and you might have to encourage them a little bit, on top of each other. So see that? Let me move the Rivoli out of the way. So that's the start of your peyote, right? The little T down there. All right. So I'm going to put it back on my finger. So now that we have the first stitch on, the rest is you're just going to peyote all the way around. So coming out of this one, skip this one, go through the next one. And don't worry about pulling these tight right now. See? Here's your second stitch. Pick up a Delica, skip one, go through the next one. And this will be much easier for you, because you won't be trying desperately to stay in frame. Come on, you. Okay, so there's number 3. Okay, so do you see how we're getting a peyote loop out of this? Now, if you've done any of my projects, this will look familiar. It's like making a peyote loop for a bracelet. So we did that on Bernie's button bracelet, and we did that on, what else did we do it on? Oh, we did it on Day to Night bracelet also. So that's it. So just keep going around with your peyote and stop a couple of stitches before the stop bead, and I'll show you how to step up. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, so I've stopped a few stitches before my step up. So this is what you should have, and don't worry, it does not need to curve right now. So you should just have it can be flat. It's fine. This is a very sturdy bezel. It will curve on its own. So don't worry if you've never done a bezel before. Don't be intimidated by the bezel. You can do this. It's just like doing a peyote loop. Okay. So coming out of this one, skip the next one, come up through that one. Okay. Put your thumb on it. You can feel it pop into place. You're coming out of this bead, skip the next one, go up the next one. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so now we're going to step up. So to step up, you want to pick up a bead, and I'll pull in a little for this, just for the step up, just for those of you who haven't done it before. Pick up a bead. You would normally skip this bead right here, and you'd go up this bead. right here. So that would be the normal stitch, but instead of doing that, just go through that bead and the one on top. So you're putting a bead in place and you've put yourself into position to put more beads on. Okay, so I think we can continue from here. So here we go. Here's our, this is it on the Delicas. Bye, Delicas. See? Told you we're not using a lot of beads in this. Just a lot, we're using a lot of different size beads and color beads, but each bead is a very few. Okay, so now we're just going to take our 15-ohs, okay? And we're going to peyote around this, the Delicas. So pick up a 15-oh, go through the first sticking out bead. First one on. Pick up this is the easy part, right? Pick up another 15-oh, go through the second sticking out bead. And this is going to curve on its own. We're going to pull it on the next row, but it's going to curve on its own because you are actually putting a size 15-oh in the space of an 11-oh. So it has to curve. So just by pulling it, it already starts to curve. Okay, and that's perfect, just like that. That's how you want it to curve. Okay, so go all the way around, come to a couple of stitches before the end, and I'll show you how to step up. Okay, so we're back, and we're a couple of beads before the end. So I put it on my finger. I'll just show you, see, this is how it's going to look. Put it there, and I'm just going to stay close in just to get the step up. So pick up a 15-oh and go through your next Delica. Okay, so this is where we're going to step up. 15-oh. You would normally go through, now this one's easy to see. Normally you'd go through this Delica if you're just doing peyote just around. Step up through the little gold, bronze 15-oh. Give that a pull, and you've stepped up. So what you're going to do from here, you can even put it on your finger like this, it really works out. Just go through all your 15-ohs. And this is where you're going to start pulling a little bit. So here's one. Ouch. Poked myself there. Okay, so you've got one on. Just go through all the sticking out little 15-ohs. Okay, there's two. If you get a little caught, just, pull it out. So you see, now you're getting your second row of the 15s on. So go all the way around and stop a couple of beads before. And with this one, after you put them on, just give it a little tug. You don't need to be Superman to get this bezel to curve. It is curving, and it will be fine. Believe me, this is not a tough one where, it's going to be huge, or, if you have taken the time, and I'm telling you, just take the time to, to get the right number of beads around this bezel, and every time you bezel, you just know that that's going to fit. And that's my 36 using, again, the Swarovski Rivoli and the Miyuki Delicas. Okay? All right, so come all the way around with your second row, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so we're back, and I'm down towards the end of my row. So let's do the last few stitches together. So pick up a 15-oh. I'm going to stay zoomed in for this. Go through the next 15-oh. Pick up a 15-oh. Go through the next 15-oh. Okay, and then we're going to put our last stitch on. So I'm going to take 15-oh, and I'm going to go through, I would be going through this 15-oh. I'm just going to go up through, can you see that? I'm sorry. Up through the one on top of that 15-oh. Okay, it's getting a little tight. And there you go. All right, so you have the front of your, see how it curved? Cool. Pull out just a teeny bit so I'm not overwhelming. So here it is. You've got the front of your bezel done. So fun part, take your Rivoli. Hope that's gonna work. And mine, I knew mine will fit because it's my number. Now it's going to pop out. You have to hold it until you get the back done. So take your thread off your needle, or your needle off your thread, And let's go to the back of the Rivoli. So take your stop bead off and thread your needle. And I have to, I always flatten out my Fireline, otherwise it takes forever to get through. You can't get it through a needle. It's a round piece of thread, and you're going through a sort of a flat hole. So if you flatten out your Fireline, you know, for those of you who haven't heard me repeat say that a million times, it just makes it easier for your needle to get onto the thread. Okay, so here we go. So you have to hold it at this point. So see how pretty that's going to be? Beautiful. Okay, good colors, nice and bright, so you can really see what's going on. So hold it. Don't worry about your front thread, just leave that thread. And so get to the point where your back thread is coming out, and it's going to be coming out sort of, okay, let me pull on a teeny bit. It's going to be coming out sort of in the middle of one of those one of those Delicas. So what you want to do is you want to get to the outside Delica. Doesn't matter which way, just get to that outside Delica. And then you're going to do the same thing you did on the front. You're going to take a 15-0. You're going to go through the sticking out Delica bead. Okay? Give that a pull. And this is what's going to tighten it up and give it a nice, secure, little cozy little home for its for the Rivoli. So just hold it. This one's slightly loose, but it doesn't, I mean, if it's slightly loose, don't worry about it. I worry more if it's too small, because if it's too small, it's not going to go in. You know, so if it's slightly loose, like these Delicas maybe were a tiny bit bigger. They were very old, so maybe, who knows, maybe they changed the size slightly. But this is going to work fine for me. So you see how it's tightening up? So the first few, it might be loose, and you're going to play with it a little bit anyway. So just keep going through your sticking up Delicas. Go all the way around, like we did on the front, and then I will meet you at the end, and I'll step up with you. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, so I've come around with the first row of 15s, and I'm about to step up. So I'm one bead before stepping up, so take a 15-0, go through the sticking out Delica, let it pull. So here you're going to be pulling a little bit in. See how it's tightened up? So it will tighten up on its own, but you give it a pull also. So I'm going to take a 15-0, and I'm going to step up now. So I would normally take my 15-0 and go through this Delica. I'm just going to slide up, just like that, through the 15-0. Okay, so I'm going to turn it this way now and pull in. So now sorry about that, you're ready to just fill in your 15-0. So take a 15-0 and just go through these sticking out 15-0s, just like that. See? Okay, now this last row, pull tight. Don't break your thread, because you never know. Sometimes you pull so tight you break your thread. In fact, one of my beads cracked a little bit. So just go all the way around and meet me at the end, and then we'll tie some things in, some of the thread in, and we'll get started on the rest of the pendant. Okay, so I've come to the end of the second row. So I'm going to take my last 15-0, and I'm going to, normally I would go through this 15-0 right here. So I'm just going to step up, okay? And these little green beads are cracking a little bit, which is, they are very old, so it's possible that they're, I don't know, brittle or something. Okay, so you've stepped up, and then just, with peyote, you want to tie in, but you want to do everything on the diagonal so that no thread shows. So I'm going to take the needle, and I'm going to go through that 15-0 that was on the diagonal of the other 15-0. Then I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to come down this Delica right here. So you're just tying in at this point. I'm going to come up this one. It's good to reverse direction with when you're tying in. You don't want to fill these holes too much because we're going to use them. In fact, there's my broken one. But I'm going to continue on anyway. So continue to tie this in, and you know, and cut off your thread, and then we'll tie in the front, and then we'll have a bezel. Okay. Okay, so I've tied off the back, and now I'm going to just tie off the front. Do the same thing. So you're coming out of one of these, this little 15-0. I'm just going to go up, just going to diagonally cross some beads, just to, you know, get this tied in. You do a few more. Now, if you pull, you know, pull it so it goes in between the beads. So I'm just going to leave it at that, and let's cut the thread off. Okay, you tie in a little bit better. I'm going to use a little thread burner, and I'm just going to, whoops, sorry, burn that off. And you have bezeled a Rivoli. So let's come in close on it real quick, just to look at it. Okay, now when I bezeled this one, I didn't realize it, but I had a cracked bead on there, and while I can't find it at the moment, I'm sure it's, oh, here it is. It's going to appear, but I'm going to continue anyway, because the basic steps for doing the Rivoli, that's the front, here's the back. This is so secure, so simple. Is this the simplest bezel ever? So there you go. So you've bezeled that Rivoli. Now when we come back, we're going to start on the rest of the pendant. Okay, see you then. Okay, so now we're going to do this part of the pendant, the embellishment around the pendant. Okay, so if you have, I have tied mine off because I used a smaller amount of thread just so I could stay in frame. But if you haven't, if you have thread on your needle, then work your way, let's say you're coming out one of the 15-0s, work your way around till you get to one of these center, I hope that's not a broken one too, let's see, to get to these center beads. So I'm going to pull in just to show you where I want you to be working. So you see how our bezel has one bead here and then two, then one, then two. I just want you to make sure, get your thread over so it's coming through that middle one bead, okay? All right? And to do that, you know, you'll go diagonally across and then come up through this bead. And just with your thread, okay? Don't use no beads. You're just coming through with your thread. And if you know, if you're still attached, that's great. I'm going to pull out a little bit because it's, I think we're just a little bit close. So here we go. All right, so at this point you're going to need your SuperDuos, your 4mm Bicones, and your 3mm Bicones. So here we are, we're coming out of that middle, right here, out of this middle Delica, okay? So pick up a 4mm Bicone, 3 SuperDuos, and check your holes, and a 4mm Bicone. Okay, so this is what you have on your needle. Okay, let those drop. Now, the placement of the first group will just make everything else fall into place. So the bead you're coming out of, count that as bead 1. Okay, so here it is. I'm coming out right here. Then I want you to go. I don't want you to go through. I want you to count that. The second one, the one bead in between the two, as 2, 3. Okay, that's the third one. And then I want you to put your needle through the fourth one. So what we're doing is we're counting the bead that we came out of as bead 1. Okay, I'll pull out a teeny bit. I think we've got too much going on here. Okay, as bead 1, and then you're counting up to 4 and putting your needle and these beads through the 4th Delica bead. We'll do that again. Pick up a Bicone, 3 SuperDuos, check your holes, and a 4mm Bicone. So you have on your needle. And let me move these out of the way just so we have, so you can see. Okay, so you have on your needle, just let them drop. You're coming out, you can see that you're coming out of this green Delica bead right here. So that's 1. This one would be 2, 2, 3, go through number 4. Okay, so what that's going to do is, oops, that's going to sit, that next grouping, these two bicones right next to each other. So that's how you know, like if you're looking at it and you're like, wow, where's number 4? If these two aren't sitting together, it's not right. So that's going to help you there. So take another 4mm bicone, another 3 SuperDuos, and I've got a blocked one there. Really look at those holes, because it's, I'm sure that everybody's had this problem of the holes being clogged and then you're stuck. Okay, so you're coming out of this Delica right there underneath that bicone. Count that as 1, 2, 3, and here's number 4. Go up number 4. And if it doesn't sit it right next to the other bicone like that, then it's not right. So that's how it should look. And I see my broken bead there. I didn't even remember breaking it. I think it must have been cracked and then it broke off. But that's okay. I'll take it apart and I'll redo it, because actually I'm kind of liking these colors. So a bicone, 3 SuperDuos, 4mm bicone. You're coming out of this Delica. That's 1, 2, 3. Go up number 4. Like so. Okay. And you will see it when you're looking at your piece. Sometimes it's hard to see it on camera, but when you're looking at your piece, you're going to see it. It'll be much more clear when you're looking at your piece. So let's do that again. A bicone. Oops. I'm down here getting my beads. A bicone. 3 SuperDuos, just so when they're close to me it's easy to grab them. And a bicone. Okay, whoops. Start having your needle. Those drop down. You're coming out of this. It's underneath your bicone. That's 1, 2, 3. Go up number 4. Okay, and that's going to sit that little group right next to the other groups. Okay, to the group previous group. Pick up a bicone. Oh, I've got lots of clogged SuperDuos here. 1, 2, 3 bicones. Excuse me, 3 SuperDuos and a bicone. Just let those drop. You're coming out of this little, right under your 4mm bicone, that Delica. Count, that's 1, 2, 3, and then the one right under this bicone is the one you're going to go through. Okay, so that's how you know. Now if these all sit together nicely, we'll know that we did it right. Okay, there you go. So this is, I'll pull in a little bit. So this is what you should have, okay? And you should be coming out of the bicone, out of the Delica that's under this bicone. Okay, so I just want you, this is going to be easy step through. Now we want to get to these outside SuperDuos. Sorry, I'm going to pull out a bit. So I want to get to the outside SuperDuos to add some more beads. So just come up the bicone and the SuperDuo. It's like a straight shot right through. Okay, and give those a little pull, right? And so this is where you're coming out of right now. Okay, so go through the top hole of the next bicone, like so. Okay, it's loose right now because we have to add more beads. Okay, so you're going through the top hole of that SuperDuo. Now grab your, my beads got all mixed up, but grab your 3mm bicones, wherever they are, and take 2 3mm bicones, 1, 2, and just go from the top of this SuperDuo to the top of the next one. It's very loose right now, but it's going to tighten up. This is going to make everything tighten up. Okay? You're coming out of this SuperDuo, add a bicone, come through the next SuperDuo, okay, grab another 3mm bicone, come through the next SuperDuo, move these out of the way. Come on, you guys, move. There you go. So this is what you're doing. You're filling in all your in between your SuperDuos. So keep doing that and do that all the way around, and meet me at the end, and then we'll work on the bail. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, so I've come around all my SuperDuos with the 3mm bicones, and what I want you to do now is I want you to just tie some knots, but I want you to avoid all of these groups of 3 SuperDuos. So tie your knots, come around, come through one of the 2 little 3mm bicones there, and make your knot here. So take that, take your knot, bring your, do a little half hitch knot here. Just be careful about getting it in between the 2 beads, all your thread in between the 2 beads, because it's you don't want to catch a bead. So here we go. I've got a little loop, and I'm just going to pull, and then go through the next bicone, and then through this group, just thread through, tie a knot here, thread through, tie a knot here, tie a knot here, tie a knot here, tie a knot here, and I want you to come out in this, in a group of 3. It doesn't matter which group of 3 you come out of, just come out the bicone, that little 3mm bicone, in between the first 2 SuperDuos. So you're coming out, this is the middle SuperDuo, you're coming out right here. Okay, so go around and do that, and meet me back here, and we'll put this bail on. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, so I've gone around and tied off, and I'm coming out of this little 3mm here. So I'm going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, so grab your 11-0s. I'm just going to come through the SuperDuo. So I'm just going to place this bead and give it a little tug so it sits in there nicely. I'm going to place that bead. I'm going to move these over. I want you to be able to see this. I want to place that bead right after this little 3mm and before the SuperDuo. Coming out of the SuperDuo, pick up another 11-0. Come through the next 3mm on the other side of that SuperDuo. So we're setting up here for our bail. So this is how it should look. You should have 2 little 11-0s sticking up, and you're coming out of this 3mm. So I want you to come through the top hole, come on you, my little 3mm bicones on, and now what I want you to do is I want you to reinforce all the way around in a specific way. I want you to reinforce in between these 2 3mm bicones. So you're just going to go through a bicone, make a knot here, then you're going to pass through these groups, go through the 2 bicones here, make a knot there. So only knot where the bicones are, okay? Because I want to keep this clear. So your thread is still going through them, you're just not going to put any knots in between them. Okay, so just put your knots there, and I think that will be great. So go ahead and do that, and when you're done, I want you to, so I'm going to go do a little bit. I'll just do one here, and we'll come out. Come on, you. Okay, so go through that 3mm, okay, like so, and then just for those of you who need a little help with the half hitch, you just come around, and I'm going to do a how-to on everything, on knots, everything. So you have your little circle there, and then just make sure it goes in between the two bicones. And then come through. I don't want to, my thumb is getting in the way. I'm going to pull in a little bit and see if I can do it on the mat. So come through this bicone. I have to hold it up a little bit. It just works better for me. Sorry. Okay, so come through the bicone and the SuperDuo. Okay. This will be much easier for you because you'll be, you won't have to, and it shouldn't be tight. Okay, there we go. So come through, and then I want you to come through this 3mm. Okay, so you've already reinforced all the way around. Sorry. So I'm gonna grab your 11/0s now, and we're gonna get ready to get this bail on. So this is what we're gonna put on now. Okay, so this is cool because it took me a very long time to figure out how to make a good bail on this. First I thought, maybe just a couple of rings or a peyote strip or something, and then it just popped into my mind. Let's make a little like sort of herringbone bail. So it took me a while to get it, but I got it, and I'm really happy with it. So pick up an 11/0. You're coming out of this 3mm right here. Okay, come through the middle SuperDuo of that group. Just let it pop into place like so. So you're coming out of the SuperDuo, pick up another 11/0. Looks like 15. Come here, you. There you go. Come through that 3mm. Okay, and that sort of pops into place. So here's our base, those two beads. So now come through the top of the next SuperDuo. Okay, so that's the third one in that little group. You have your two little seed beads right here, and they're just fine, just the way they are. And then I want you to come through the bottom of this SuperDuo, of all three of these SuperDuos. So you're coming down and going across the bottom of this SuperDuo, and these, they're tight, so it can be the turns are tough. So try to get through. Just get through one at a time, and if you have to bend it a little bit, bend it. But don't go too crazy. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. Okay, come through the top of the SuperDuo. Come here, you. Let's cooperate. Here we go. Sometimes you have to, play with it a little bit and move it around a bit. So we've come through the top of that first SuperDuo. See? Come through the 3mm. Okay, and the 11/0. Okay, pick up two 11/0s, and I have to look at my instructions for this. Let's see, because I just designed this, so I wrote it all down. Go through 11/0. Okay, so pick up two 11/0s. See, I need to look at my instructions. Come through the second 11/0, and then you get sort of this wonky looking 4-bead kind of weird looking thing. So it's almost like you're just, you have 4 beads on here. So come through the SuperDuo, and this is all in, so that there isn't going to be a lot of thread showing. It works very well this way. Come up the 2 seed beads. Let's see if I can get both of them on the side. Okay, so you came through the SuperDuo, and then here you are coming out of that. I'm going to pull out a little bit. Coming out of the 11/0 right here. Pick up 2 11/0s. 1, 2. Go down the 1 11/0. Actually, you know what? I want you to, let's see. Do we want to go 1? We'll go down the 1 11/0, and that's And we want, actually want to go down both. I'm sorry about that. Go down both, because I want to keep the thread out of view as much as possible. So go through both of them. Just going to go through that this seed bead. Come here, you. Okay, there we go. Go through that seed bead. And I want you to go through the SuperDuo just one last time. This little SuperDuo here. And there's plenty of space in there, so don't worry about it. And this is, as I said, this is all to keep from seeing a horizontal thread. Okay? And then I want you to go up the 3 11-ohs on that one side. Okay? So here you go. This is how your bail is starting. So now, take 2 11-ohs, go through the next 11-oh. So this is just like herringbone. So then you go to the other side, because it's coming out of the bottom there. Just go to the other side and go up the 2 seed beads on the other side. Okay. Take 2 11-ohs, put those on. You know, you're down 1 bead, so you want to go up the 2 11-ohs on the other side. This is like so hard to do. Well, for me anyway. I'm new at using camera. I mean, it's been several months, but there's so much to learn about staying in frame and such that I'm not that fast learner when it comes to the camera, the camera angles. I sort of get lost in the beading. So you're coming up the 2 on the other side and pull those through. So, but I am constantly trying. Okay, so that's what we're going to keep doing. So do that 13 times. Okay, that's the perfect number for this little bail. So do that 13 times, and I will see you back here after you're done with 13 rows, and we'll connect it to the other side. Okay, see you soon. 2 on with you. So I have my 2 11-ohs. I'm going to go down 1 bead, hold it, put those on, make sure they sit kind of like herringbone. Then I'm going to come up the 2 on the other side. It's amazing how when I'm off camera, like I can do this in 2 seconds, but just trying to stay. There we go. Okay, there we go. So we have our 13 rows on there. Now I find, I'm going to pull out a little bit, that 13 rows will bend nicely, because herringbone is flexible, but generally not in this direction. So I think if you put on 13 rows, and I think let me count mine again just to make sure I have 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I do have 13 rows on. Okay, sorry about that. So you can give it a little squeeze. I mean, you don't want to squeeze it too much, but it's really a sturdy clasp. So it should look like that. All right, so you can bend it a little bit. So it's gonna see how it's gonna look right here. You're gonna bend it over like that. So do that. So just don't even worry about bending it. It will bend. So don't. It feels like it's not going to, but it does. So we're coming out of this, let's say this bead. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to take an 11-oh, and don't worry about holding the bail right now. It's going to come into place on its own. Take an 11-oh, and you're on the back of the pendant. I want you to go through the SuperDuo. Okay? And just give that a pull. And see how that's going to pull the bail down? Now you can't do that on the other side, so what we're going to do is we're going to take an 11-oh, we're going to drop it down. Okay, so just so you can see this, we're dropping it down like so. Okay, I'm going to pull in really tight. Okay, so dropping it down like so, and then I want you to go up the first bead on the part that isn't attached, okay? And that's going to attach it on, see? And then just go across, just like you would regular herringbone, like so, see? And give it a pull, and that's going to attach your clasp on, but it's not attached well enough yet. So go back through the SuperDuo and do that a couple of times. Do it maybe twice more. I think you can get through twice more. And then after you've done that twice more, then go and just, you know, tie a few more knots around. I'm not going to do that because I want to get this video up. So that's how you're going to get that clasp on, that bail on. So it really is I think it looks great. I think it integrates into the piece nicely. I think it, you know, it was the best way that I could think of doing it, and I'm really happy with it. I think it really turned out well. So let's pull out, and let me just give you. We'll just take a look at all our pieces because, you know, we love to do that. So here's the one we just made, which I think looks so cute. Here's the black one. Okay. Here's the I love this one too. The blue and the green one, and I started, but I didn't continue it, but you can do that. I started a, look at that, I started a real snowflakey color, right, really sparkly, but you couldn't see the thing I was doing with that. So that one, if you want to make it, just use those color beads. So here you go, here's your pendant. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope you'll make this pendant. I hope you'll post it on Facebook because I love to see your creations. I love to see what you do. A lot of times you sort of add or, you know, do something, you know, kind of, and design a little bit on your own, which I think is fabulous. I would love for you to subscribe to the channel so I can, if you like it, so that I can notify you, so you get notified of videos and, you know, and such. So please subscribe if you like, and enjoy this pendant, and I will see you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.